welcome to another episode of the Amazons and Afripreneurs interview series from the stable of Agbari Multimedia Company, where we showcase and celebrate Amazons and Afripreneurs on the African continent. Our mission is to inspire you into greatness as we celebrate winning Amazons and Afripreneurs in Africa. Today, I am here with a woman of excellence, a trailblazer that has defied all odds and challenged the stereotype of what being a girl child needs to be by attaining greater heights herself. But before I bring her into the studio, let's get to know a little bit about her.
Mrs Nkeiruka Obi is Smile Train's Vice President and Regional Director, Africa. Mrs Nkeiru is based in Nigeria and joined Smile Train in March 2011. She is a wife, mother, and grandmother. Mrs Nkeiruka graduated with honors from the University of Calabar with BSc in Physics. She obtained an MBA and is now pursuing a PhD in Health Psychology. Nkeiruka is a certified management consultant, a global professional of human resources, and an alumnus of Pan Atlantic University, Lagos, and the Haggai Institute of Advanced Leadership in Hawaii, USA. She is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management as well as a member of several organizations. While serving as Program Director for West and Central Africa, she increased access to cleft and craniofacial surgeries in 22 countries. Mrs Nkeiruka Obi built a network of community influencers, including First Ladies, to help spread awareness around clefts. This work improved the quality of life and productivity of cleft patients and consequently helps build stronger communities. Now as Smile Train's Vice President, she leverages local partnerships with key professional bodies to scale up surgical and anesthesia care capacity through evidence-based practices and patient-centered care. When the COVID-19 pandemic came to her region, she developed telehealth programs and trainings to ensure Smile Train's work would continue during the lockdown. Mrs Nkeiruka Obi engages government and community-based organizations to deliver on health and child-focused projects within the humanitarian and philanthropic spaces. She is passionate about helping vulnerable children and ardently pursues a world where every child would have access to safe, high-quality, and affordable healthcare services. She is a worthy African Amazon worth celebrating.
Welcome to the Amazons and Afripreneurs interview series, where we celebrate, like we said earlier, and our mission is to inspire the future generation with stories and interviews with people like you. I must say that listening to your bio just sort of took me wondering. Yes, I got inspired myself. I'm very,
Thank
very
you,
much
ma.
younger than you are, so I have every time in the world to copy what you have done and what you have achieved so far.
Thank
From
you
your
so
bio,
much.
yes, ma'am. From your bio, it seems to me that you found a way to merge your career with your passion, which is humanity, touching lives. As a health enthusiast, you have been able to help people with clefts and craniofacial deformities get better lives. Tell us more about you. What else don't we know about you, ma'am?
Many things, I tell you. This lady wears many hats and still have her head on top of her neck. I'm just someone who loves to see children and anybody in need getting helped. And one of the things that drives me as a person is to have a fulfillment and joy in seeing other people joyful. I started off, well, let me tell you a bit about my family background. I'm from a family, my parents were civil servants. My dad retired as a PAMSEC. My mom was a nurse. She was a nurse. She had her master's in nursing and she worked for WHO for a while. I'm the last of 4 children. And when I was young, I was actually going to be a nun, interesting. But somehow things went the other way and I had to go into medical school, which many people don't know that I dropped out of medical school after first year. I couldn't stomach the human anatomy class. So I was at University of Calabar, and then they had this fresh cadavers that came in. I think they were armed robbers that were shot or something. And the professor then, Professor Singh, said, "Oh, you ladies, you guys, you take your knives and dissect and bring out the bullets." And there I was seeing these sights, and I just started throwing up, and I threw up and I threw up. And that was the end of medical school for me. So I crossed over to do physics, which was a very dry, hard, not many women were in physics, but it was such an interesting course for me, and I did well, I thank God. And thereafter, I went for my NYSC. And when I went to do my NYSC in Kwara State, I served with the UNICEF project. We were involved with the guinea worm eradication. So I found myself as the monitoring and evaluation officer looking at all the UNICEF projects within Kwara State. And then UNDP came and they co-opted me. So I designed a kind of registry, a database of all the UNDP, UNICEF projects and donated equipment. So it was really an interesting time, and that brought me closer to working in communities. But I do have a passion, because when I was in the juniorate, I was very involved with the motherless. So every weekend I spend my weekends, my Saturdays at the motherless babies' home, washing, cleaning, playing with the children. And I think that was where my passion for children came out. And this was me until I got married, and now children started coming, and now grandchildren. And interestingly, I had a set of twins. I also had a set of triplets. So somehow it just shows that I can't run away from children. And then the grandchildren started coming. I have a grandson from my daughter. So it's really quite an interesting time. And so that is me on that bit. And then on the bit of academics, after physics, I did my MBA, and then I had other certifications in treasury, because I started off after I left UNICEF due to marriage. I now worked with the then All States Trust Bank. Then I moved to Diamond Bank. I was a chief dealer of Diamond Bank, and then I moved to UBA. I left UBA as the head of UBA Prestige Banking after serving there for close to 4 years. And then I joined Smile Train. But aside that, I also have an NGO called the Sisters Unite for Children. Now, this NGO has been in existence for more than 15 years. And we do have a home. The very first home for street children, street girls in Lagos, is at Abidjan. And so we started off as a group of friends, women who are compassionate and passionate about the well-being and dignity of vulnerable children. And so we established that home, and then in that home, we do the rescuing of the children on the street. We do the rehabilitation, and then we empower them with some life skills, including vocational skills, and the ones that are educationally advantaged go to the proper school, go to the proper classrooms, and get some other skills. And then the Smile Train program came on, and trust me, for the past 10 years I've been with Smile Train, I haven't looked back, because it's given me a wider horizon to expand what we know how to do, which is to bring out the best in children and to ensure that we provide a safe place, both in health, in education, and in environment for our children and for people that are really in need.
Just listening to you, I felt a bit overwhelmed. How great this standard is set. As a grandmother and with your wealth of experience, make your take on these lowered standards in our own generation. Imagine you did physics, you went on and on and on. But today now, universities are dropping cutoffs some areas are educationally disadvantaged and all of those drop in standards in our own generation. How do you feel? What's your take on this?
I feel sad sometimes because this is not how we were growing up. But I always say all hope is not lost. We cannot, continue to be on this pity party. We need to take that bold decision and the bold step. And that bold decision and bold step starts from my own home. So for me, I don't delegate bringing up the child to the school or to my house helps. I do it myself. I try as much as I can to inculcate those values. Those little things we call little, they do really make a lot of difference. Respect, courtesy, greetings, manners, table manners, timeliness, clean environment. My children, by age 3, they were all dressing their bed. No matter how they do it, they know how to straighten their bed sheet, they dress. Because if a child wakes up and that is the first responsibility, it means that that child is going to be really responsible the whole time. And washing their dishes, they go pick their food from the kitchen, go to the dining, set their table, eat, and then they go and wash their dishes. Nobody does that dishwashing for them. So these are little things you start small, putting in children. And then, of course, homework. I'm one who believes in delayed gratification. Why is it so? Like now, the children are in session. There is no TV watching until Friday evening. So it's a rule. The TVs are switched off. They are removed from the sockets and is controlled from my husband's room. So they can't just go in there and put it on. No. So for that, once they come back from school, they do their homework and we start from there. But again, you find out that as much as we do from the home, there is also need for the entire society to be part of this revolution, because this is like a paradigm shift from where we were to where we should be. And why do I say so? You may think you are not doing enough, but if everyone is doing their little, those little lights, before you would say Jack, it has lightened the whole place. So we will not give up. I'm a strong advocate of mothers, fathers, parents, adults. Do your own bit in that child upbringing, because that little thing you call little, it's a seed that you have sown that would definitely germinate and would definitely spring forth more fruits. So my stake again is we need to, go back to the basis. We need to go back to where we were before. Let us forget about Western culture and the influences. We have a great culture. Africa as a continent is very diverse and very rich. And if we can mine out the richness, the diversity of our culture, we do not need to import any culture that will dilute what we know is the best way of life. And so my advice to parents, to the society is, let's get back to the basics. Let's take back to those values that made us who we are, and let us not lose focus.
I'm enjoying my interview, even though I'm the one interviewing. Ma, you've done exceptionally well with Smile Train's work in Africa. Can you share some of the strategies, some of the risks that you had to face, some challenges, and how you curtailed each of and every one of them?
Having spent, interesting, because coming from a banking background, though I have I've been involved in humanitarian projects vis-a-vis the Sisters Unite for Children home. But for Smile Train, when I joined, we are working with a group of medical people who are very strong in the medical ecosystem. I'm talking about surgeons, I'm talking about anesthetists, anesthesiologists, nurses. And if you don't know your onions, you know you're already out of the game. And so for me, the first thing I needed to do was to even understand to a very reasonable extent what the cause of cleft was. What is this problem? And when I joined Smile Train, I went to India, did my orientation, worked with some surgeons to understand how they go about, providing care for the patients. And I came back and I found out that in Nigeria, for example, because when I joined, I was made a coordinator for Nigeria. There was no awareness about the program. And I decided to engage the first ladies. Now, these are governors' wives, wives of chairmen of local governments, and in some situations, governors, presidents' wives. So I started off in Nigeria and I reached out to a couple of first ladies. And the whole idea was to put the face of a mother to the problem. And usually when a child is sick, it's always the mother that is, in fact, I always say it's the mother that is sick because you won't sleep, the child is coughing, you are the one who is actually, nursing that baby. And so the support I got, the response was pretty overwhelming. Everybody, we Africans by nature, we love to help. We are very interested. How can we be part of this? How can we help these children? And I give you a very interesting story. Before I joined Smile Train and I had been approached, I didn't know, I hadn't seen a cleft before. I've been in Lagos, after Kwara State all my life, and I haven't seen a cleft. So I went on the website, used the pictures I saw there, printed on an A4 paper, and I pasted it on the notice board in my church. And in 1 week, I got 17 patients. I never knew that this problem was that enormous.
Well done, ma. Well done. The next question is for you to discuss with the young just listening and wondering if I were an 18-year-old, what sort of investment would I do in my character to enhance the kind of collaborations and network that you have today?
Well, you need to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself means you need to have your purpose in life. And having a purpose in life, when we're growing up, I remember my aunties, my father's friends, my mom's friends will come. And the first thing they say, how are you? The next thing they ask you is, what do you want to be in life? But these days, it's rare to hear people, adults asking children that. I'm conscious. When I meet a child, I first ask, how are you? I hope you're doing well in school. What do you want to be in future? Those are, seeds that you drop in the consciousness of children, and it begins to form their purpose in life. So for an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old, it's not late. You can start now. What is your purpose? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? What do you need to do to get to that place you want to be? You need to invest in education. Your parents have sent you to school. Go and study. Avoid bad company. Avoid distractions. Don't get into things that will not augur well with your progress. And then create a niche for yourself. When I mean niche, build your principles. A person who lives by principles don't get easily swayed. With all the distractions in the world, once you have your principles, it's your guide, you would always follow through it. And then be prayerful, because no matter what you do, we all believe in the power of God. So whether a Christian, a Muslim, but just make sure you are close to God and be prayerful. Do the good things, be nice, be kind, show love. And showing love doesn't mean stupidity or foolishness. Showing love is when you see people doing the wrong thing, you could always correct them. You could always, be polite to people and be respectful. Those are things that once you have them embedded in your DNA, I tell you, not even the sky will be your limit.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you. Thank you, ma. I wanted to know from science to management, from management to banking, then humanity with Smile Train, and then you have the home for street children. I don't believe it was
Yeah.
easy. I don't believe that happened. I believe that you had some challenges and you must have had some failures, some steps that you took
Oh,
that didn't turn out
yes.
well. What would you say
Yeah.
some of your what your most successful moments were in your career? In all of this that I reeled out, just the science from management, banking, all of that, and would you consider were your unsuccessful moments?
Well, I think the most successful is yet to come. If you may ask, if I may tell you, the most successful is yet to come. But I've got some very high points, especially when, for me, if I take from my banking career, I maintained an A rating, a role model appraisal rating throughout my banking career. Even when I was leaving, it wasn't funny for my supervisor. It was like, NK, you can't leave now. But then I needed to go because I was moving with my passion, which is to go into full-time humanitarian work. So I've had very wonderful career, both as a banker and now in the humanitarian space. Working at Smile Train, I was working alone for a very long time. So breaking into these countries, I mean, I broke into Cameroon and many French-speaking countries, and I'm not a French speaker. So these were such high points for me that, I mean, from ground zero, I mean, you are just from ground zero, and you have put up such a beautiful edifice that, you look back and say, oh God, it can only be you. So these are some of the successes we've recorded, but I still believe that the best is yet to come. So I'm keeping my hopes very strong and very high that we will celebrate more successes.
My next question, when I started the next question, I said health and management. I did not foresee banking. I didn't know. I didn't bother with
Yes,
science. No, I want to know aside science, aside management, aside banking, aside
yes.
health, what
I
other
do other
career
things.
option? What other career?
Do
Okay,
I
let me
have?
know.
Okay. I didn't mention to you that I write. So I write. I have a couple of books that have won awards that I used to raise funds for the streets children. I have The Cold World, which is a play, and also I have The Termites of the Cradle. I can send you copies to go through. And so I'm a writer, and then I'm involved with the chaplaincy. So I'm a chaplain. I'm a brigadier general in the Nigerian chaplains. So I visit the prisons. Because of my psychology background, I also provide a lot of counseling for prison inmates. So every quarter I go to the Kirikiri prison to meet with the inmates, pray with them, and also sometimes try to see how we can help to get some legal support to push their case, particularly those of them that are just waiting for trial. So these are some of the things. And I'm also with the supernumerary police as an assistant superintendent. I'm a Sunday school teacher in my church. And then I teach children a lot. So I have, like, my house is more like a crèche, if you know what I mean, with the triplets that are young and then
No.
my grandson. So I engage them very well. So I have many other portfolios I'm wearing. I sit on board on some companies. So I still have to attend board meetings. But so far, so good. God has been kind to us that we've been able to balance our lives. The only thing I say is that, everything in life is a phase. When you get to a certain phase, you must follow through that phase. Don't lump into the next phase until you are done with that phase. So for me now, the phase I'm in is the phase of bringing up children. So I want to be right there with them. Like now, I'm just started school, and I want to be there, dropping them off at school, making sure that they are well settled in class. And so that is it. So I just really believe in work-life balance, and I'm one testimony of it.
I'm doing my checklist too. And the only one I could mark is my humanitarian work with the prisons. Kirikiri particularly is very close to my house. I work with Shoulders for You. We do our
Oh,
visits monthly. Yes. I'm just so
hopefully,
happy. I had one to say.
hopefully, hopefully,
I had one to say. Hopefully, when we're gonna go, we'll meet.
yeah.
I'd like to, again, just reiterate an advice to a young girl. Now, let's talk to a young undergrad who's getting into school and she's designed a purpose for herself. She thinks I want to be an Amazon. I want to touch lives. What exactly would you advise her what steps would you advise her to take?
First, I would encourage her to, I would advise her to stay focused on her studies. Make sure she comes out with a very good grade, first class 2-1, very good grade. And then while she's doing her studies, if she finds volunteering opportunities, she should engage those volunteering opportunities. She can volunteer depending on what area she wants to venture into. I like humanitarian work. She can look for a charity that is close to where she is and volunteer her time, her services. And then she should also look for opportunities for her own self-development. Personal development is not what you get from the classroom lessons, especially the soft skills. And when I'm talking of soft skills, I'm talking of skills around leadership, skills around networking, skills around time management, skills around communication, skills around, those virtues, those emotional intelligence. Then trust me, she will have the best attitude combined with competence, and nothing will stop her from becoming who God wants her to be. And like I mentioned, in all of this, she should be prayerful and she should be close to God.
Thank you so much, ma. Please, are you on social media? Is there any way anybody listening can reach you?
I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay, great.
Yes. Can I type it in the chat box?
Okay, ma. Please do. I will share it on the screen. Okay. It's Nkeiruka Nkeiru on underscore NK at NKYRU underscore NK on Twitter. On LinkedIn is Nkeiruka Obi. On Facebook is NKOB. And some of the books you should go and find somewhere to buy today is
they have some at the airport, at Lantana. Yeah.
Okay. So find these books, Termites of the Cradle and A Cold War. A Cold War. I'm sure they are centered around your humanitarian work. Well done, man.
Yeah.
And on behalf of myself and management of Agbari Multimedia, I want to say thank you so much for your time and those impactful words that you shared and your patience. I really learned how to be, patient for you. And to Agbari Multimedia family out there, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Yes, thank you so much, ma, for coming.
Facebook. Thank you, Diba. Thank you, yes. And have a lovely day. Okay. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Till I come your way again, I am Nima Akashat Zibiri. Be inspired by this interview and get ready for the next Amazon and Afripreneur to be celebrated on the show. Thank you for watching. I'm grateful.